Hello and welcome to Kedrick Farms. We're back with another episode of Lincoln, Nebraska, and today we're going to be diving into our planting. We've got a lot of crops that we need to get into the ground here this spring, and it's finally warm enough for us to get out into the field. So we're going to get started off here by getting our planters out, getting them all filled up here, and jumping right into our first field of planting. Now, I've spent a little bit of time off camera thinking about what we want to do on this series, what we're going to plant, and I think we're going to plant a little bit of a few different crops. Nebraska's got, is well known for its corn, and beans rotate in with that. Wheat is also common here, but also crops like sunflowers are not unheard of. And so I think we're going to put a little bit of the soybeans in. We're going to definitely plant some corn. And we're going to get some sunflowers going here in something somewhere as well, I think. So let's go ahead and get these tractors pulled out here. We've already gotten them all ready to go and set up here for planting. I think what we need to do is also get our truck with the seed and the liquid fertilizer out here. I believe it's all set up that we can pull it out this back door. We've got our equipment kind of in here all hodgepodge at the moment, but that's okay. We can still get the trucks that we need out, which is all that matters. And we're gonna just pull this thing right out here into the yard and get everything topped off with it right quick. I'm really excited to get out into our fields here. You can see the planters all opened up here, our invisible hired help getting the toppers up. And if we just hit R here, we're going to be able to fill the liquid fertilizer tanks, which these are the ones that were on the planter itself, I'm pretty sure. If I back up here a little bit, we're going to hopefully be able to also fill the front tanks. Maybe this is the... No, there we go. I was like, maybe that's the combined capacity, but it's definitely not. So there we go. We got a little over 1,000 gallons, almost actually 1,300 gallons here between the two tanks. So hopefully from a liquid fertilizer perspective, that's going to keep us going. And then I think what we're going to do for our first field here, I'm looking at the map, we want to plant some sunflowers. I've not done a lot of that, and I think this field right up here by the farm is going to be a good place to do that, mostly because then we can look at the beautiful sunflowers as they're growing next to our farm every episode through the summer here, and it'll just be something a little bit different, give us a little bit of variety of crop so that we can watch the prices and maybe kind of divide up when we can do things. If I look at the map here, I actually could have planted sunflowers a little bit earlier, and so that would have given us something to do on a different segment of spring. And so in general, I'm gonna just try and pay attention to that kind of stuff moving forward. I like having different things to do on different days so that we're not doing all of our farming on a single game day. I think what we're gonna do is go ahead and get course play set up here to plant the sunflowers in this field, and that's gonna free us up to go get our other planter moving on one of these other fields. And so we are going to put a couple of headland passes in here. I think 2 should be enough for something this big. I'm going to shrink this down a couple percent, and I'm going to try this other headland type and see how that does for us. And I think all the other options are good. Just like that. That's the course that I want to see. So we're going to go ahead and get planting as usual. Let's try and line ourselves up with the starting point just a little bit better. Something like this should do it. And if we pop open the precision farming menu, we should see that we're on the automatic rate here and moving towards our target level for loam, which is what we're doing. So I'm happy about that. Sunflowers have a little bit lower of a threshold required than, say, something like corn, I believe. And we've got the awesome planting textures here behind our planter, so we're actually making mounds instead of having a seeding texture behind the planter. So I really like this addition that we're starting to see on a bunch of maps. MRG did an awesome job bringing this to Lincoln Creek here for us, so kudos to him for getting this into the game for us. I'm just realizing that we had the helper buy things all turned on. We need to adjust all of our game settings here. So economic difficulty, hard, all the helpers are turned off. Crop destruction is on, as are all of my other settings. Looking better. Let's save the game just to make sure that those don't get lost. And now we're appropriately using sunflowers and fertilizer out of the planter. We're also going to turn courseplay worker wages back on. Somehow that was disabled. All of our settings are just on the wrong things. Now it looks like this guy is going to do a full turn here because we have a square corner. So this is how I would expect to see a headland square corner planted. Good deal. I'm digging it. Hopefully he's able to follow the curvy bits though. Looking good. Courseplay as always. Well, I shouldn't say as always. Courseplay doing its thing without frustration today. So hopefully that continues. Either way, we're good to go here. Let's jump back over to the farm and get our other planter moving. Now, I decided to go with two different style tractors in this series for my planting setups. I could have definitely got away with having similar tractors, and in fact, sometimes, depending on what you're doing in the game, having multiples of the same machine can be a lot easier. But I really wanted to try this row track quad out. I really like how it looks. I like having the narrower tracks on there. And so we're going to give this thing a shot in this season and see how it goes. And honestly, the other machine that we've got out there, I've never had a chance to use that normal style tractor with the tracks on the back like that. I don't even know what it's called. I've seen them in the field a couple of times. And so it's a very unique machine. And so I thought it'd be good, rather than just having a bunch of quad tracks on the farm, that we have a few different pieces of equipment here. So I'm really kind of looking forward to putting those through their paces. Now, I will say this one doesn't tend to work as well with courseplay. Articulated tractors in general don't tend to work quite as well with courseplay, depending on what you're doing. And so I'm always wary of having too many articulated tractors around on the farm. But when you've got tractors this cool, it's really hard not to want to get them out into the fields. So we've got this all loaded up. I think the next field that we want to plant, we are going to plant corn. So right now, the appropriate planting season is corn and sunflowers. Our soybeans are, it's not quite warm enough yet to plant the soybeans. So we're going to be focusing on getting the corn into the ground right now. And I think what we're going to do is plant this little field here next to the farm with corn as well. We've got a few fields that we want to plant as corn, but we're going to start up here at the farm just so I can keep an eye on everything and make sure we're not running into any problems while we get started. And then we'll haul everything out to another field to tackle planting that here soon. I think we might actually run two planters in the really big field that we've got when we get around to putting corn in that. We've got this field 68, which is just huge. And so we might try to do a double implement course for planting that particular field, I should say. But for this one, we're going to actually do this one ourselves because it's nice and small. And let's be honest, we just want to use some of this equipment. I can't let courseplay take care of everything for us. So we are going to use some GPS though, because most people aren't doing this by sight anymore. And we don't even have any marker arms on this version of the planter. Oh, you could definitely get marker arms, I think, on certain configurations with this planter, but the way that I've got it set up right now, we are a GPS driven farm. Now I'm bringing up precision farming just to make sure, but our nitrogen is appropriately applying here for corn, and so I expect to see the liquid fertilizer burn down a bit faster here while we're planting corn than what we were seeing on the sunflowers, which is to be expected. We've got these nice grassy areas here on the ends of this field, so we have plenty of opportunity to turn around here without any issues. We may at some point decide to widen this field out just a little bit and reclaim some of that grass over here by the shed, or closer towards the sheds and the driveways. We've got just a lot of extra space there, but I've been hesitant to reclaim too much of it just yet because we might need to toss another shed out here somewhere. And so I'm deciding if I would toss that shed up there, kind of where we've got some of that equipment parked, or by that big grass area on the other side by the house. So we're gonna get through this first season here without making a lot of massive changes to the field shapes. And then after harvest, we might take a look at some of these fields and decide if we need to rework some things. Now, we probably should have planted our headlands first on this, but we're gonna just lift up here and we'll come back and hit those at the end. We'll put the planter down just a smidge early there, that's okay. Now, the other thing we need to do, apparently, is come out here and pick up some rocks. I'm just now realizing we've got quite a few rocks over there on the edge of this field. So we're going to go ahead and turn GPS off and start a hired helper here, and let the hired helper keep planting there while we grab the rock picker real quick and see if we can pick up these rocks before the planter catches up with us. So if you watched the previous episode I did on Lincoln Creek here, we spent a lot of time picking up rocks. And so we've got a lot of rock picking left that we need to do. I'm not sure I'm going to do all of it on camera, but I know a lot of people have been asking about both this mod, and the Rocky Fields mod. And the Rocky Fields mod, the links that I had posted previously have been disabled. Thundar no longer has his Discord opened up to the public, and so I'm going to be posting links to the Rocky Fields mod directly, both in the video description for this and a couple of other videos that I've done on Rocky Fields, and then they're also currently in my Discord server in the mod links section. Thundar was kind enough to give me permission to post the direct download links to the Rocky Fields mod. So with that, I think we've got all the rocks scooped up here out of this field. The problem is we don't have a easily accessible rock pile to dump them out in right now. I'm trying to think where would be a good spot. I don't want to drive all the way across that other field just to dump some rocks out. So maybe we'll put one up here in the corner, up kind of dividing between these two fields. I think that might be a good spot for one. I don't want to get it somewhere that I would want to put more field, and I don't see us plowing up this little section for field. I think we'll probably leave this open, and so we're going to put it right up here, I think. So we're just going to grab a rock pile here, and if we come out here, something like this is a pretty small placeable, so putting it right here shouldn't get in our way at all. I'm going to do something like that, I think. And just because I'm picky, we're going to come in here and smooth out the textures just a smidge here. Is this my smallest brush? I don't need it to be quite as much dirt here. I like having a little bit of grass as well. Something like that will look good once the grass grows in. So let's dump these rocks out here right quick. Oh, I sucked them right out of the bin. And we're going to just put this thing right back up here where we were at before and call it good. So if we jump right back over here into the road track, it looks like we're almost done here with this field. The worker didn't have the same reservations that I did about jumping into the road to turn around, it looks like. So we'll have to clean up those headland passes here in a little bit, but we're doing pretty good here. We'll jump back on a GPS track here and finish up these last couple of rounds, clean up our headlands. I'm really liking this road track though. It's a sweet looking tractor for us here. It does look like we're using our liquid fertilizer at almost twice as fast as the seed here. So that's not an unexpected ratio. We do have pretty big tanks here for the fertilizer on this planter and tractor, though. I'm glad we decided to put the extra tanks on the tractors just to keep us going here. Otherwise, we'd have to be stopping to refill our fertilizer quite a bit more often. And as we get into planting some of these bigger fields, we're definitely looking for some of that efficiency. We want to keep the machines moving as much as possible, especially since, at least in this case, you know, it's a little narrow for the size of equipment we've got. We could definitely pull a wider planter. And so I'm really looking forward to custom modding, releasing the updated version of this planter that's a bit wider. That's going to be a great upgrade for this farm at some point. So this is going to finish off this small field here for us, which is awesome. We'll just need to... Oh, I've almost forgot. We got to go back and fix that little headland pass. We started out doing it appropriately, and the worker kind of set us onto a different track for this field. So I should have just taken the headland pass off right away at the beginning and solved that problem. Ah, well. I'm really digging these planting textures. They feel a lot more realistic than some of the other textures that you tend to see on maps. So, I think I already said this in the other field, but huge kudos to MRG for continuing to step up his game, or step up the farm sim game in general, and bring all these cool features into maps. So with that little field done, we're going to run back up into the yard and just top off all of our products here, get the seed filled up, get the liquid fertilizer tanks filled, and then we're going to figure out which field we need to jump over to next. I also want to check and make sure that the other worker here is doing okay on those sunflowers. It looks like this guy is actually clipping along pretty good here. This is a decent sized field, so it's going to take about a half an hour to wrap up planting on it. We do have some oddities with the curvy bits of the field here, but it looks like he handled that pretty well. And I have to say the multi-terrain texture's working out pretty good on those curves, at least from this distance. It doesn't look nearly as jagged as it can sometimes with these types of textures. So everything's looking good, everything's running good. We'll have plenty of seed and fertilizer to get through this field. Just popping open the precision farming map again. Everything's looking good. If we jump into the bigger map, you can see we do have a couple of different soil types here in this field. So I always like to check, make sure everything looks good, which it does. So we're going to jump back over into the road track, I think, and go figure out where our next cornfield is. So looking at the map here, I think what we're going to do is put our corn in fields 50 and 68. And so 68's a pretty big field. It'd be nice if we could use both planters to knock that out together. So I think what we're going to do is head on up here to field 50 and get the planter going up there. All right, we're coming up here onto our field 50. I don't see an official driveway. We're just going to pull off here and get a courseplay course going here for our seeder. I think the 2 headland passes is working out good on the other one. I didn't seem to see any issues, so we're going to try and use the same settings here. It wants us to plant diagonally. Sorry, courseplay, I don't think so. We're going to try up and down rows, and we'll accept your warning for issues. I need to look up and figure out what I'm doing wrong. I hate that courseplay always puts the starting points facing in like the most awkward directions. Whatever. Let's get this guy going. First waypoint, and off to the races we go. So while we've got this planter going here in this field, oh, there is a driveway over here on the other corner. I'll have to remember that next time. So, but what I was saying is, now that we've got this guy going here on course play, we're going to let him keep moving on planting this field. If we bring up the HUD here, he's got 58 minutes to go on this field, so he'll be going for a little while here. I'm going to jump back over here and take a quick peek at how the sunflowers are going. It looks like this tractor is knocking out the acres pretty quick here. No complaints. He's still got about 22 minutes of planting to go. So we're going to let both of these machines kind of go and do their thing. We've got to run over here and grab this rock picker and head out to the other fields that we did tillage on here earlier in the series and pick up all of those rocks. Alright, so we've gone around the field and picked up every rock that I can find. We've got some big ones in here. I mean, at least that first rock, actually, I think that we picked up was the biggest. But I really like that Thundar added so many different sized rocks to the Rocky Fields mod, and it's not just the same rock over and over again. It's the little details like that that I think make all the difference in the game. And I'll admit, it's not the kind of thing that I'd probably have even thought about if I was making a mod like that. So hats off to Thundar for making an awesome mod for us. I am going to jump into the menu here. We're going to place down another rock pile for this field. Oh joy, I love when FarmSim puts us way back on the other side of the map. So we're going to use the landscaping tool here and see if we can fly all the way over here, find our tractor. I think what we're going to do, I was looking around a little bit here. I was thinking about putting it up here, but, well, I want to leave this free because, you know, if we bring semis and stuff in here in the fall, yeah, I think we're going to put the rock pile right up here in this little gap. Something like that is going to work out for us pretty well. And similar to the other one that we just placed, I am gonna grab the landscaping tool here and just make this a little bit less of a perfect square, a little bit more irregular. As that grass grows in, that'll look awesome. And then we're just gonna pull up here to the rock pile and dump all of these rocks right on out. If we jump back up here to the main farm, it looks like we're on the final pass of the field here for our sunflowers. If we bring our HUD up here, we actually used a fair amount of seed on this field, so that's cool. We didn't use nearly as much fertilizer, which is to be expected. So yeah, I think what we're gonna do is once we finish this field off, we're gonna get this guy switched over to corn. We've got quite a haul to get down here to field 68. This is gonna be a big field. That's gonna take a while to plant. And so we want to get everything staged down there and moving and grooving so that we can get both of our planters into that field and helping us get that planted. So I think what we'll do is we'll just get this fold up, bring it back up to the yard, get everything topped off, and not too long, our other planting setup here should be getting done with field 50. We'll be able to bring all of this equipment out to that next field and get started. However, I think this is a good spot to wrap things up for today. Hopefully you're enjoying the series. If you are, hit that like button. It helps the channel out immensely. And if you're looking for the Rocky Fields mods, links should be in the description of this video. They're on my Discord server. And if you know people that are looking for them, let them know as well. It is the single most asked question on my channel at the moment. So let's help everybody out and get those mods shared. That's all for today. Kedrick out. Now, I decided to go with two different crash counter. The other style definitely will work better. Oh my goodness. Oh, it fell through the tines.